I wanted to talk about how to actually create a value stream map today. And so, what we're going to do is create a value stream map for going to the dentist. And the first thing we have to do is, I'll just explain. This is a spreadsheet that is available in the classroom. And it has some symbols in it that it might simplify our job of creating a value stream map. Some of the people who designed the value stream mapping activity suggested that you actually do it by hand with paper and pencil, but we'll use a spreadsheet here. The first thing I need to do on a trip to the dentist's office is figure out what the process steps are. And we have to make some sort of determination of when the process starts and when it ends. We could start that out with a driving to the dentist's office, but I think what I'm going to do is start the process when we open the door to the dentist's office. So we enter the dentist's office. Now I'm going to type in here all the steps that we have to put in. I'm going to simplify it a little bit. So we enter the office, we check in at the front desk. We sit in waiting room. We get called. Well, let's call that go to operatory. That's where the dentist chair is. 5. Clean teeth. 6. Get X-rays. Probably those are out of order. Probably we get the X-rays before we clean the teeth. 7. See dentist. 8. Pay. 9. Leave. So there's a simplified version of that. Now, in a value stream map, we're always interested in those things that are of value to the customer, and as a customer, you're going to patient. You're interested in those things that are worthwhile to you. So entering the office, checking at the front desk, probably. Why you don't want to pay for it, you would do it. I'm sorry, there we go. Cleaning of the teeth, getting the X-rays, seeing the dentist are certainly things you want to do. Paying is part of the process, so we'll do that. So we're kind of interested in here identifying those things that are value added and non-value added. Now, those things that are value added, and so you're going to do that whatever process you're doing. So value added work, we put that in a rectangular box. And in this particular set of flow charts or icons, the rectangular box is here, manufacturing process. So the question is, so what we want to do is copy this and paste it in over here. And I need 1, 2. Now, sitting in the waiting room isn't something I pay to do. So that's not I'm not going to make that a process. 4 is going to the operatory. I would do 5, cleaning the steps, get X-rays, see the dentist, pay, and leave. So I've got really 8 things that I want to, that are value added here. So these things are a little tricky to use. And again, you can do this by hand if you want to. So what I do is I click in there, and that highlights this, but that doesn't highlight the whole box. So I hold the Control key down, and I want to get the middle bar there. So click on that, click on the outside here, and then click on that where it says manufacturing process underneath. And at that point, I keep Control key down, hold Control C. And now I can go over this, the other side here that's kind of free, and hit Control V and paste that in. Now I want to paste this in a number of times, so I just do this, and I'm kind of skipping 3 boxes in between. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do or not. It's close to right though, so it's 4, 5, 6. And this particular template, you probably don't want to do a whole lot more than 8. All right, so now I have all of those, and again, the reason I set out is you don't have to have all of the process steps laid out if you're doing it by hand, but if you're doing it with this, it simplifies it because you can just paste those in anytime. Now you also need, in between each one of these, you need what they call an inventory box or delay, and so we do the same thing. And I'm going to highlight, I'm going to start out, click somewhere else. I click on the inventory box text, hold the Control key down, and then click on the triangle and do Control C again. And I want one of those in between each one of these manufacturing processes. So we'll just click in there, excuse me, I right clicked, and all I need to do is hit the Control V. And that's not going to be about right, so we'll move it over. So it's in between, and Control V, same thing. Pull it over there. You want to reposition it before you lose the focus on it. So V, if I paste it in the one right next to it, it appears to work better. So we'll do that. Don't have to reposition each time. And I only need them in between these. I don't need one at the end. There might be one at the end, but I don't really need it. Now, the other thing we want to do is we need to connect these with arrows. There's a bunch of different kinds of arrows on here. I'm not interested in that. One thing we can do here is click on the Insert menu and then Shapes. And then under the recently issued, there's called a line arrow. So I click on that, and I'm just going to draw that in between from here over to here. And then I guess I messed that up a little bit. There we go. And so that puts a nice arrow in there. And what I would do is just do that a bunch of times. Insert, I'm not sure why it goes away from Shapes, but let's do this again here. And click on that again. I know it's kind of ugly, but if you did it by hand, it would be uglier. So, and this isn't a beauty contest. I mean, we like it to look nice, but so you just do that for each one of these. Now, this first one is we need to label these things, and this. We call this office because we're entering the office, and we need to get rid of press. I need to highlight that OFFICE. Okay, and I click somewhere else, and I can see the office, and I would just put enter down here at the bottom. So highlight that and type enter. All right, so and this one would be wait in line at the front desk, and this one is front desk for the, and I didn't highlight press again, that didn't get rid of it, so we hit enter there. Oops. Back one. Click somewhere else. And so that's at the front desk, and we're going to check in. So highlight that. And so forth. So you do that for all the various pieces. Now, before I eliminated number 3 here, sit in the waiting room. And that's actually one of our wait times here. So I'm just going to put sit for the inventory box here, sit. So it's just sit in waiting room. Okay. And that it's not quite big enough apparently, so it doesn't all show up. There we go. So we go sit in waiting room, and then the next thing would, of course, would be to go to operatory, and then you're going to sit in the dentist chair till the hygienist comes, and so forth. So you just fill these out. Now, there are a couple things to consider. First is in the dentist's office, we're talking about one patient, and it's easy to do with one patient. And there are 2 schools of thought with regard to, say, manufacturing. One is you could do, and probably the easiest thing is to look at a single piece, how long that takes to go through each one of the steps, including the waiting time in between steps. So you could do that. The other thing you can do is if you have clear batch sizes, you could do that, but don't mix them up. If you are doing one at a time, you're gonna divide the wait time between steps by the inventory level. If you are doing batch sizes, you do not divide that wait time. Well, you divide the wait time by the batch number of batches, not the number of items in the batch. So you want to keep track of a single item or an entire batch as it goes through the process. And that's what you put on your sawtooth diagram. You put the amount of time it takes for each one of those. Now, if we're going to have we would have to draw that sawtooth on the bottom here. That's not hard to do. You just highlight the 3 cells here, and you click the bottom of that, and then you go up here and you click the box. So you can highlight these like this. So this is one way to make your sawtooth diagram. And of course you can connect the boxes here by doing the right border. And this one you can do, well, you can do the right border again. If you do these, so then what we would do is we'd put the time in here to enter, and you just, in our case, we didn't, we'd have to go use a stopwatch to do this. You might say 20 seconds, and I would put an S for seconds. Might wait in line here for 1 minute. Now you need to commonize your time units. So it would be a minute or 60 seconds, but you need to have common time units. It takes you a minute to check in, so you have to put 60 seconds again, and so forth. Okay. By the time you get done with that, then you're going to add up the ones on the top and the ones on the bottom. And usually the waiting around takes a lot longer, and so you get your value added percentage, but you can calculate your amount of value added time. So that's basically how you do a value stream map.